Big shocker.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Destiny.
I'm Belem.
And welcome to
Roomie Rants. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Today we are going to be talking about climate change, but specifically consumerism and social inequality and how that ties into climate change as well.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to define some of that stuff right there because sometimes I don't know what, like, you know how when you know the definition of a word, but you really don't know the definition of a word?
Right. So we have to define what we're going over today.
Okay, so consumerism, it's like the economic theory that because of the desire of people wanting things that they don't really need,
right?
But because it's there, they want to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But that is supposed to help the economy grow because it's, people circulating money around and everything.
Yeah.
So they're just like, yes, that's good. And consumerism is good for our happiness and stuff, but
I feel like it's overboard. Like today, it's just gone completely overboard, and now people buy things and label it as it's for self-care or my happiness or to fulfill whatever they're trying to fulfill. But it's no,
you really need...
let's think about that one a little bit more. So.
Okay, so next, climate change. Scary word. The scary word.
The big word.
But climate change is a natural thing. We've the ice age. That's a big climate. That's a big one. The big climate change thing.
Right.
So it's a long-term shift of global climate, which includes weather and temperature. So it is a natural occurrence, but us humans are furthering it more.
We're the cause of climate change, actually.
I don't know if you guys, who's gonna tell them?
Know that, but let me just let you in on a little secret. We're the reason that climate change is so bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys been noticing, but it's getting literally so hot outside. Just think about it for 2 seconds. Why is it getting so hot outside? But we're gonna tell you why it's getting so hot outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why it's getting hot is because of greenhouse gases.
Yeah, greenhouse gases. Things like carbon dioxide, things like methane. These things are coming from different products that we're using today, which is what we're going to be going over today. And that's what is getting into the ozone layer, and it's making the earth more hot, which can lead to terrible things happening if we don't fix it soon.
Before we move on, we also should talk about social inequality because it's a very prevalent thing, and I feel like not everyone is affected by social inequality.
Not everyone, but
a lot of
people, majority that's not privileged will experience social inequality. And even if you are part of the privileged community, you can listen into because
it's gonna be a change, gonna be a voice.
Right. Right.
We are, you audience may be part of you may have experienced social inequality, so this is good to hear about. So it's basically social inequality is when resources, opportunity, education, jobs, they're distributed unevenly in our society.
Mm-hmm.
So this is pretty prevalent in minority groups, lower income families, lower income groups, and disabled groups as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, talk about consumerism, especially fast fashion.
It's so bad, and I know you guys already know that fast fashion is this big thing. If you guys don't know what fast fashion is, we'll go into it a little bit more. We want to just hone in that's the main topic that we're going to be talking about. But consumerism, why is consumerism so bad for the environment? I know that us as humans, we're consumers. We have businesses all around us. People trying to sell us things all the time. What's so harmful about buying things that you like?
Well, consumerism turns into a lot of overproduction because people think that, businesses, they're these people want this, so we need to make more and more and more so we can keep on making money from their wants and needs. But this is a lot of energy consumption. So that's taking oil, creating more carbon dioxide, which is of greenhouse gas.
Yeah.
So it just, and the energy consumption needs a lot of greenhouse gas emissions, or it causes a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. And the fast fashion industry is a very big contributor to this energy consumption because of, the things that they need to make, the textiles, and it's responsible for as much as 10% of CO2 emissions,
which is a lot when you think about how much fast fashion is incorporated in, today's everyday, like, clothing shopping.
Yeah.
And, like, when you think about fast fashion, you're like, there's so many different websites that, put out these clothes for you. And they always have so much, but this, like, their production is being done on such a big level.
Scale, yes.
And so it's like, they're contributing so much harm to the environment just from producing as much as they do.
Yeah. And then also, we're consumers, so we should keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That we're the ones who are buying it, we're the ones who are creating this demand. In a 2015 study, it was shown that the production and use of household goods and services, which is a part of consumerism, is responsible for 60% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That's over half.
60%. That's insane.
And that was in 2015.
Think about it now. We are in 2025.
10 years.
10 years later. Think about how much worse it has gotten 10 years later, because nothing has changed since 2015. Like, I mean,
it's gotten a little bit worse.
It's gotten worse, actually. Yeah. So,
second, mass production of goods takes up a lot of resources, because how you can't make things out of thin air.
Right.
You gotta get the stuff.
You gotta use resources to make these things, to make these products for you. But it's like, when you do it at such a big level, and the things that they are using to make these things,
like, literally, a lot of companies, I feel like, don't put a lot of, like, limitations on their resources or how much they're using up resources. That's really bad. Water is a really big thing that's needed to create products. And the thing about taking up too much water from places, like, they were taking a lot of places from very desert areas. But if you take a big part of a water source, that causes climate change, because you have no water for precipitation. We need precipitation to rain and to create more plants and everything. Yeah. And it increases the temperatures in that area. And then it's also just bad for our ecosystem and for biodiversity and the people living there and the animals living there.
Right.
So yeah, we should be, we should keep in mind the resources that are being put into these products.
But also with mass production, like, when these products are being produced, they are using plastics and microplastics, which is another thing that's terrible for the environment. And these microplastics, they take years, I mean, like, such a long time to decompose. And when things take such a long time to decompose, it's not good for the environment, because they're just lasting longer and they keep on piling up. And since they take so long to decompose, they're kind of just sitting around in the earth, which is not good either. So
yeah, they have, like, no purpose. They don't do anything. They just release toxins. Like, they could poison our water sources. And then to make those plastics, guess what they release?
Greenhouse gases.
Wow, big shocker. But yes, so I think you could tell that greenhouse gases is a really big thing about consumerism and how much it emits. No bueno. Going into a little bit of economics and socioeconomics, I think.
Yeah.
I took a sociology class last quarter, and now I think I know everything about sociology.
Right.
One thing about economics and social classes is that the middle class has been growing, because I think it was after the Great Depression. That's from my AP World class. So after the Great Depression, I believe, how our economy kind of boosted a little bit. So that allowed for people to join into the middle class, which means more disposable income. And disposable income is income that you could use not for your bills, not for your food, not for the necessities, but for enjoyment, for leisure. So more people have disposable income, which means they have more money to spend on things they do not need.
Which gives them more windows to be victims of consumerism. Because when you have all of this disposable money to spend, you're like, okay, well, I don't have, like the bills to pay or anything. So like, let me get this toy car, or let me get another baseball cap. You know what I mean? It's like, but you don't need it, do you? You don't need it.
Like, your kid is not going to remember that toy car. Like, a 3-year-old, let's talk about it. Do 3-year-olds have conscience? Are they conscious?
I feel like they're kind of conscious, but like...
One eternity later.
Anyways. So that also worsens. So the rise in middle class has also worsened consumerism. Has made it increase. And then fashion industry. People love fashion. People love looking nice and fresh. Like, hey, no judgment here.
No judgment. I love looking nice. I love fashion. I love clothing. But it gets to a point. And fast fashion is that point. No. So fast fashion, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, makes a lot of clothes. But they make so much to where it's more than what you can actually buy. So, for example, like, if you think about fast fashion, you think about fast fashion companies, what's the first thing you think of? You probably think of Shein. You probably think of Fashion Nova. But there's also Romwe, there's Cider, there's Temu.
Oh my gosh.
Remember the last time you used a public restroom?
The new Shein.
The new Shein.
TikTok shop. Ooh.
TikTok shop is a...
TikTok shop.
Another victim. But you think about all these things, and you can literally find the same product on all of those websites that I just mentioned. And that's crazy that all of these sites are contributing to such a terrible environmental impact. And then you think, well, how are they able to like have all of the same product, but there are all of these different websites? Well, that's because of a thing called drop shipping. Oh my gosh. Which is, shocker, another terrible thing for the environment, because drop shipping is where you take products from another third world country, probably with terrible labor laws and stuff, and it's mass sending it to different countries
and different businesses.
Exactly, to sell the exact same product. But in order to do that, they have to use fossil fuels again, which fossil fuels contributes to, let me say it again, greenhouse gases.
Whoa. I honestly didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming either. And it's, when you think about drop shipping, it's like, okay, yeah, but like these people are getting like money from it, right? So like, what could be so bad about it? But it's like, yeah, you're getting money, but at the cost of people's lives in the future. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're happy right now with the clothing that you have, that you bought from Shein or Temu or TikTok shop.
But but next summer, are you gonna want to wear those clothes?
Oh, no, you're not. You're just not, like, I mean, even like looking beyond clothes, like all of you guys buying the chamoy pickles on TikTok shop, I'm looking at you guys. You guys don't need that. And you guys are not going to want to buy that chamoy pickle anymore. But they're, like, you can literally find it on all of the websites. And, like, that's so insane to me. It's so insane to me.
It's okay to be silly, but let's
be mindful.
Let's be mindful.
Let's be mindful, okay? That wasn't very mindful.
Yes. So there's so many trends. Fast fashion is like the gas for trends, because they could like spill out anything, because they have the labor, the not very ethical labor,
right,
and then the not very ethical use of resources. For instance, let's talk about the transition from skinny jeans to baggy jeans. I know Tell me, do you have a pair of your old skinny jeans from middle school? Do you?
Do you wear it?
I feel like,
No.
honestly, oh, wait, controversial opinion, but I feel like skinny jeans can look good with something.
I think some people can pull off skinny jeans, okay? I think, honestly, I am all for the rise of skinny jeans again. I mean, I am not a huge fan of skinny jeans, I will admit, but I think that some people can pull off skinny jeans, and I think we need to stop shaming them.
Yeah, I've seen some people wear skinny jeans, I'm like, wait.
Like, it looks good on you, like,
so
let's bring it
keep
back.
the stuff that you don't think, just keep like 1 or 2 pairs. Keep your favorite, even if you're like, oh my gosh, I love these jeans, but I mean, nobody's wearing it.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Like, be who you. That's a different thing. It's June. It's June. Happy Pride Month. That's
Had a pair of old Hollister skinny jeans.
just, you know, stay true to yourself. And it's a cliche. It's a cliche. Disney Channel taught us that. But just be true to yourself.
Don't throw away the jeans. Honestly, reuse, recycle, give it to someone else. Maybe one of your friends wants those skinny jeans.
Yeah.
Maybe one of your friends is sitting in their room right now being like, oh my god, I wish I had a pair of old Hollister skinny jeans.
Ooh, the
Give it to
Hollister
them.
skinny jeans.
Give it to them. You know?
Yeah,
You never know.
What else can we talk about?
I want to get into you guys buying Labubu's.
And that is fashion. I feel like it is
It is a form of fashion because
Because
it's being used as an
it's
accessory.
an accessory. Labubus, they're cute. Sometimes, some of them. I only like one series on the little TikTok slides.
Not the point.
But
the point
guys.
is, you are a victim. Stop
Stop it. Get some help.
it. You do not need 2, 3, 4, 5 Labubus, okay? 1 Labubu was fine. 2 Labubus, okay, you're kind of scaring. 3 Labubus? Stop.
What are you doing with all those
Stop.
Labubus?
Don't do it. You are contributing to a cause that I know you don't want to be contributing to. It may not matter now. It may not matter, you know, in maybe 2, 3 years. But in like 4 and 5 years, you're going to start seeing the effects of being such a terrible consumer. Like, stop while you can. Right now.
Stay mindful. If you have a Labubu and you see something at Pop Mart and you're like, oh my gosh, look at it again and think, wait, am I gonna want this in a month? Am I gonna use it as an accessory in a month?
When people aren't posting about it anymore on TikTok and Instagram, are you gonna want it still? If the answer is no,
Don't get it. If you think
Don't
so,
buy it.
if you honestly truly love Labubus,
if that's like a true representation of your soul and spirit, buy a Labubu. But if it's not, don't buy it.
middle class, rising middle class, more consumerism.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But I think we should focus on a little bit, something a little bit more, I guess, not important.
No,
Let me pause.
everything's important.
Everything is important, but something that should be called to attention.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that lower income, more, what's the word? D starts with D. Disadvantage.
Yeah, disadvantage.
Yeah.
Right.
Disadvantaged groups. They are kind of more targets to unsustainable consumerism.
And I feel like you guys are going to be able to relate to this one just a little bit more if you are low income. Not assuming that everyone is, but if you are more low income, I feel like you guys will like understand what we're trying to say. So like when we're talking about, you know, low income groups and fashion and sustainability, a lot of the times you come to this conclusion of social inequality, and we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. So, for example, like, I know, like, at least for me, like, since I'm, like, more low income, you know, I'll think about, like, yeah, I want something maybe nicer, right? Or, like, I see something trending and I may want that. Or you think of these brands that are more known, that are not, like, the Shein and stuff like that. and you're like, oh, okay, you know, they're a little bit more sustainable, right? So maybe I should buy from them. You know, if you do know about climate change, you know about the environmental impacts. But then you go and see their prices, and you see the difference.
Immediately click out.
Yeah,
You
immediately don't want to have anything to do with it anymore. You know, because you're like, well, I might as well just buy from the fast fashion piece that sells it for like $4 to $10 rather than the piece from, you know, maybe like Zara or Hollister that has like, you know, that's nearly like 30 to 40, $50. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the, like, to be honest, the more fast fashion or like Shein and stuff like that, they have really low quality.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever bought
If you've ever bought Shein,
you know that the quality is low key.
You know the quality is
doo-doo.
Terrible. And like, you're not gonna want to prefer that, but you're gonna do it anyway if that's what you can afford. And like, also, everyone's always trying to save a buck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're gonna buy from the thing that's more accessible to you, is the point that we're trying to make.
Yeah, but the thing is, because they're a little bit cheaper, they don't last as long, which also results into overconsumption, where you're buying it and then it breaks and then you buy another one. But with like more higher end, more better quality stuff, they're not, hopefully they don't break as much, or they don't get worn out as quickly. So even though they're more expensive, you're saving that item for longer. But that's the issue, because you can't, it's hard to afford, or hard to like easily, or I'm trying to think of like a phrase, like be like safe in mind, feel easy about, easygoing, feel, I don't know, I forgot. But
it's harder to have peace of mind.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Yes.
Harder to have peace of mind. Yeah.
When buying that, because I know whenever I buy something that's like a little bit more money, I'm like trembling. I'm like,
yeah. Because you're not going to want to spend that much knowing that you can get it for cheaper at somewhere else. Like, it may not be sustainable, it may not be for the environment, but you're not, like, I feel like a lot of people don't think about it like that. They're like, okay, yeah, I know this is kind of bad, maybe I shouldn't do it, but who's going to come to me and, like, reprimand me for buying from Shein? You know, like, I'm going to do what I want to do, and, like, if that's the cheaper option, then that's what it is. But no, we need to be more mindful. Mindful. And also, there are places that are sustainable and also are cheap. But yeah, to get into a little bit more of like examples, honing in a little bit more on Zara. Zara is a company that labels themselves as a little bit more sustainable, I would say. They, you know, saying that they have reached 25% reduction of water consumption. We'll insert some clips here.
Don't know where.
Yeah, don't know where. They'll be here so you guys can look at them. And like, they're, you know, labeled as more sustainable, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, I should buy from them. But if you're low income, you're like, wait, stop, slow your roll. Because you go on their website and you see how much their clothing is, and it's like, immediately no, I'm not paying that much. Let me just go on Shein. Let me just go on Roomie. Right? So.
Yeah. Same with Reformation. Reformation, like, they have like a whole, like, environmental report saying like how much they have helped, how much they've reduced. They said, what did they say? That they were saying that their savings of CO2 emissions is like removing 25,241 cars off the road and reusing 19.5 Olympic-sized pools of water. A little dramatic. I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of like real professional statistical analysis,
right?
Who found that, but like, that's like, whoa, okay. And then but using my best friend, the low to high filter on their website, they have a tank top, the cheapest one. The first item that's supposed to be considered low is $38, and it's a tank top.
Who wants to pay
$38
for a tank top? Nobody wants to pay $38 for a tank top.
Yeah.
And that's just being serious. That's like, it's okay. We can be serious. We can be real, okay? No one's paying $38 for a tank top, especially a low income family who's, you know, just like, say if like a mother wants to buy something for her daughter, right? And she goes onto, you know, the website and she sees, oh, okay, this is something my daughter's been talking about. It's more sustainable, you know, to help the environment. And she sees that the cheapest thing she can get is $38. No, she's probably just gonna go find a similar thing on a more like fast fashion website that's not sustainable and not good for the environment.
The low income groups. So there was a survey by economic journal called Deloitte's, and they had self-reporters, and the self-reporters are part of the low income group. They reported that 12% of them like never purchased sustainably. 12%. But the middle class group reported that for never purchasing sustainable, I don't know if I said that right, but it was lower, and it was 8%. So that means that 8% of them said, oh, I would never shop for sustainability or never purchase anything sustainable. And then the higher income reported 5% that they have never purchased something sustainable, which is a pretty big difference from 12% to 5% because of the prices. Higher income people can afford these more expensive sustainable products, while the lower income, you know, it's like a human instinct to put yourself first.
Yeah. Because
you got to take care of yourself. So, you know, you're going to buy the cheaper option. And also not a lot of people think about the environment. They don't keep in mind, because it's like, well, this one purchase won't affect anything, but it's just like as a whole.
Yeah.
Think about that. You're one person, but think about that there's like a million yous thinking the same thing.
And once that adds up, and if nobody's thinking about it, then nothing's going to be done about it. But that's why you have to start thinking about it. And you have to be the start of the change. And that there is things that we can do to fix this issue.
Yeah. In LA, downtown LA, there is a thing called Soy, SUAY, it forward.
Yeah. Sway. Yeah, Suay. Don't know how it's pronounced.
But
yeah.
It'll be here somewhere.
Yeah.
But they have a really good cause where they accept people's textiles, so like their shirts, their old fabrics, anything. And they accept those and they upcycle them into other pieces of products. And I think that's really good. You said that there's one like that in Lancaster?
Yeah, from where I'm from, Lancaster, the Antelope Valley. Rep. We have this little, like, I want to say it, I don't know if it's like family owned, but it's this place, don't really know the name of it, but you can bring your old clothes, or clothes that you don't really want anymore or you don't wear anymore. You can bring them in and they will reuse and recycle those clothes and make them into new clothes, or they'll use it for something else, or it will go to like a different product or something. And I feel like that's just a really good outlet, and like you can probably find one of those in your community as well. You know, if you just look a little bit deeper, do a little bit of research, your community probably has one of those too.
And it's important to always take action. Do your, you know, be a part of it.
Do your due diligence, do your part.
Yeah. Don't try to like depend on other people to tell you. You know, we could hopefully we'll like inspire you to look into it and look up.
Like I hope that we are inspiring you and that we're encouraging you to go out and be the change. But also, you know, do research on your own and also be encouraging to others. If you know, I feel like a lot of people, like their friends are like, you're not gonna have a conversation with your friends where you're like, oh, like, are you being sustainable today?
Exactly.
You know?
And that's low-key like, whoa. It's like when vegans push like super veganism.
Yeah.
And it kind of like pushes you back, so you're like, oh my gosh, you're kind of scary, you know?
But it's not scary. It's okay.
Yes. So just be mindful. Be nice. Be nice.
Be kind about it.
Because that's what makes people like others. To be nice. So, you know, if you're going to talk about it, think about how to approach things and stuff. Yeah. other proposals that you could think about.
Try not to buy new items of something if you already have a good one. I feel like I am definitely victim to this. Like, I will buy something new because I feel like I need a new one, and I don't need a new one. I don't need a new one. I don't need a new shirt. I don't need more. Like, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret, okay? Or it's not really a secret, but I buy a lot of phone cases. I feel like this is like a very like niche thing.
Stack them like this.
Yeah, I could probably go like
Little
a money
phone
spread,
case
but like
set.
with phone cases.
Yeah.
I have a lot of phone cases, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't need them. I don't. It's a really bad habit, and I am working to break that habit, okay? But that's just a perfect example of buying things to just buy them, or buying a new thing because you want to buy a new thing, but you don't really need a new thing. Your old one is still just as good. My phone case is just as good as any of my other phone cases. So, yeah.
So, just keep that in mind.
Right.
Think, oh, it has a little tear in it. Patch it up. I remember I fell straight on my butt in these jeans that I'm wearing right now. And then a little hole happened in the pocket. But I just sewed it up. And you don't need new jeans.
No need.
No
need.
Act like if it's like the distressed thing. Your grandma might be like, oh, do you need new jeans? You fell. She might make fun of you a little bit. Not coming from personal experience, of course. No, never.
Right.
No,
never.
yeah.
Never that. Never that.
But make it your own. Make it your own. And then also calling out a little bit to the companies that they should, be a little bit more affordable.
Yeah, affordability. But that's nothing that we can do personally.
Yeah.
Like, on like a
Unless if
people
you
level?
want to start a company. Hey, if you want to start a
If you want
company.
to start a company, be affordable. But yeah, like, obviously, companies need to be more affordable, be more accessible to the lower income individuals and communities and minority communities. And those are things that we can bring to, maybe our local governments to try and petition for, sending emails. But, like, that's more on the grand scheme of things.
But I feel like smaller boutiques would be more open. So maybe if you like a specific, more sustainable boutique or something like that, send them a little email, send them a little invoice.
Support small businesses too. They're usually more affordable. So support them.
But just, just be like, hey, I was wondering how your prices are or whatever. And then other things. DIY queens. DIY queens.
We love you guys, DIY queens. Yes.
Re-upcycle your own clothes. If you're not feeling your pants right now, make them into jorts. Make them into jorts, and then use that denim to make a purse or something.
Yeah. Learning how to sew. Then you have a new hobby.
Yes.
Look
or
at that.
get a friend who knows how to sew.
Right. Not everything needs to go into the trash to add to the landfill. Speaking of throwing into the trash, don't do it. Don't do it. They give your clothes to someone else. If you don't have anyone that can sew it, you don't know how to sew it yourself, you don't want to get into a new hobby, I understand. That's fine. Don't throw it away though. You can give it to thrift stores, Goodwill, Salvation Army. They will take your clothes within a heartbeat. Okay, and then those clothes can be used by someone who probably will appreciate it more than you ever have. You know what I mean? So, and also, hand me down. Give it to a friend, give it to a family member. Maybe they can appreciate it more.
Yeah. And just a little note to the thrifters out there. If you're thrifting, that's good. Thrifting is good.
Thrifting is good practice.
Yes, because you're doing the cycle, If you give to the thrift shop, take from the thrift shop. Do not steal. Buy. Pay for them.
Pay for it, obviously.
Yeah. But don't buy the thrift shop, don't thrift and then upscale the prices on Depop. Because that's going into the unaffordability of.
If you guys don't know, Depop is a place that you can resell things. So, yeah. But
also, you could be a Depopper for your old clothes, but don't make them too. Oh. But don't make them like make a like tiny little baby tea, like an actual baby tea, like for a baby, and price it for like $20.
Yeah.
Don't do that. But yeah, that's some good solutions.
Those are some solutions that you can take with you and think about if you're really into fashion, if you're really into clothing, if you are the everyday consumer, okay, and you're contributing to this environmental impact, you're throwing away your clothes, you're buying things you don't need. Take a step back, think about it a little bit, and trust and do a little bit of research. You'll find ways that you can be sustainable in your life, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be time consuming. It can be really easy and really affordable, and you can do it too.
Just be mindful when you shop.
Be mindful.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for watching.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Love you guys.
Roomie.
Bye.
Bye.
Roomie Rants.